All right, guys. Hey, good morning. Monday morning Super Bowl hangovers. Here we go. Quick talk. We're going to focus on some lagging indicators today because I think a lot of time we spend tons of time in this business focusing on things that have no bearing on anything that will ever move the needle, right? They're not going to change your income. They're not going to actually increase your productivity. And and what do I mean by that? Well, if you're looking at like changing a goal or setting a goal and then running after it, what really happens, right? People just say, oh, well, I want to be 10 by 10 this month. I want to be 50 by 50 this month. And then they get to the end of the month and they're 0 by 0. Why? Because they put something out there, but they never tracked anything that got you there. And so while you have to have that goal, right? You have to have that mark on the wall. You have to also backwards plan and figure out what on God's green earth am I going to do that's going to get me there, right? And Wendy's done a great talk on this before, and it's no secret, right? It's a Primerica like staple. It's five to stay alive. But how do you get to that five? And how is understanding that five to stay alive going to get you to that 10 by 10 or whatever that goal is, right? But so many times we're just focusing on tracking like the end state that we never track the things process wise along the way that get us there. And so let's play a little whiteboard game really quick. And here we go. So if you want to close 10,000 in premium, right? Well, that probably means you should be on at least 10 qualified kitchen table appointments. So let's back that out, right? So if you want to back that out, if you want to get here, your end state is 10 KTs, right? In market, in market, meaning they're macho clients. So if you want to get here, because assuming you're on 10 KTs, that's roughly 10K in premium, right? Somebody quit drawing on my whiteboard. If you're on the right kind of KT, 10 solid KTs that you close should be actually closer to 20K in premium if you're sitting down with macho clients. But if you're sitting on 10, if you actually sat on 10 appointments, guys, put it in the Zoom chat. How many appointments should you have had on your calendar in the first place? If you got to 10 appointments, how many should you have had on your calendar in the first place? 20. Absolutely. Right? So you needed 20 actual appointments. Don't make fun of my handwriting. It's Monday, it's early, right? If you needed 20 actual appointments, how many phone calls, how many contacts should you have made to set 20 appointments? Kathy Shields is awake, 40, right? In reality, it's probably a little bit more. But this is the math, right? These are the numbers that never change. And so if your end state is here and we're already a week into the February production, well, not really, sort of, right? We're about a week into February production, and you're like, oh, I'm still 0 by 0, coach, but I'm gonna be 10 by 10. Not if you don't start doing this. And I swear to God, if I figure out who's drawing on my whiteboard, the next time I see you in March at home office, I'm probably gonna quit drawing on my whiteboard. I'm not kidding. I don't actually want to hurt anybody. But guys, like this is the math, right? And this is you can't let yourself off the hook. And I promise you, you're letting yourself off the hook because you're just going, "Oh, I got 3 more weeks, coach, and I'm going to be 10 by 10." No, you're not. Not if you don't fix this right now. Because if I asked you right now, what's your calendar look like? And you say, "Oh, it's empty, coach, but I'm working." No, you're not. If you don't have appointments, you're not working. Sitting or setting, period. You're either sitting on or setting appointments. That's it. Because without activity in this business, you are dead in the water because every day you wake up in sales, you're unemployed. Let me say that again. Every day you wake up in sales, you're unemployed. But Primerica changes that. Primerica is different because you're not alone. And if you're growing a team and you're training them, you should never not have appointments on your calendar. Period. Period. And they don't all have to be KTs, guys. Like if you're building a team, you should have a ton of appointments on your calendar for your people. They should be one-on-ones, check-ins, orientations, whatever you have coming up, and then duplicating and driving down through them. And that's how you will always have this level of activity, but not if you don't follow the system. Okay. So look, if you want to set 10, if you want to sit on 10 KTs, right? We should actually like back this math out even more because we actually skipped a step, right? So this is closed KTs, right? Meaning they move forward, they become clients, check mark, done. So if you want to close 10, you should be sitting on 20. Now, I'll give you a little grace. So you're like, oh, but coach, I'm a better than a 50% closer. Maybe, maybe. But even if you're the best closer, you're going to get on those appointments where people are just not going to move forward. It happens, right? So you should be sitting on 20, which means you should have 40 on your calendar, which means you should actually be reaching out and talking to 80 people. 80. No, Justin, 80. Double it. It always doubles, guys. Always doubles. And some of you right here, this is the magic number sauce kind of thing that you're all missing because you're letting yourself off the hook on the actual level of activity that you have going on. And you're going, no, I talked to four people today. Okay, run the math. You talked to four, right? You talked to four, right? Here you go. That means two set an appointment. That means you sat on one. That means you likely closed zero. It's a coin toss right here. Do you see it? Do y'all like am I like do you see the math? I swear to God, who's drawing on my don't draw on my whiteboard. This is the math right here. This is the math. And even if you sat on one and you're like, oh, I closed it. I closed it. Like I did it. I got my one. Great. You need nine more. Where's your activity? Some of you hit this right here and you like, woo, and you're on your way to Disney World because you just won the Super Bowl. Guys, like you have to have so much activity that you're happy when clients and recruits and people just blow out and calendars change and perfect. Right? Now I got an hour to breathe. That's the level of activity that it takes to be really successful in this business. And I promise you, if it hasn't happened yet, we're missing something, right? We're missing an ingredient. I think for most people, they focus so much on the 10 on the like 10K in premium, 10K in premium. You forgot to keep the main thing the main thing. Because remember, guys, like, how did you all get here? How did you all get here? Somebody saw something on something somewhere and commented and showed up. Somebody recruited you, right? At the end of the day, somebody freaking recruited you. And right now, like that's where your activity has to come back to, right? The Atlas Base Shop, all we've been talking about all month so far, 100 by 150 by 15, 100 by 150 by 15, right? We want 100K in premium this month, 150 recruits, and 15 new licenses. Next month, we're going 150, 220. Just keep it bigger, 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 right? Always more because if you're the one driving your team and your goal is like this, well, where's everybody else's goal gonna like there's no room. There's no room. Think bigger, think big old hairy, scary, nasty goals that actually freak you out. Because if it doesn't make you uncomfortable, it's too small. It's not a goal, right? It's just something that would be nice to happen. No, guys, like nice to happen doesn't change lives. Nice to happen's cool for a weekend, right? It'll pay a bill. Mm-mm. There you go, Mark. That's what I like that. BHAG. I can get after that, right? We won't swear, right? YouTube will like knock me out again. They won't let it go through. But yeah, it should be, right? And I'm not saying you can't just like randomly throw out like 500 by 500. Okay, that's been done what? Five times in Primerica history? Don't do that, right? Give yourself something that you can attain. That's your like goal right now, and then go like put something bigger that's out there, right? Give yourself that attainable goal because you need wins, right? You need to be able to like put it on the wall and achieve it, but then you have that bigger goal that you're stretching, you're striving for, right? There you go, Mark. Put it out there in public, dude. Now, Mark, listen, you're engaging. I'm gonna help you out. Put that out there, and if you have a team, communicate that to your team. And if that's your personal goal, figure out what theirs is, and then incorporate that into the team goal. And then that became your big team goal. Because if that's your personal goal, good. But do you really think, or can you really expect your people to go do anything that you're not doing, guys? No. Like put it in the Zoom chat right now. If you're right now for the month, put if you're 0 by 0 still for the month, right? Of any kind. If you haven't closed or if you're not 1 by 1 at least for the month, put me in the Zoom chat. There's a lot of honest people. There's probably also a lot of people that just aren't paying attention because I promise you there are way more than that that haven't closed something yet for the week for the month so far. Guys, listen, there's 72 of us on the call right now. If we all got a recruit and we all closed one life app today, go change your RVP base shop numbers drastically. You will. Go do something personal. Some of y'all, it's been so long since you closed something, you forgot how to close. Mm. Did I say something to somebody? Like you got it. Like guys, you have to stay current. You have to stay current. I promise some of you right now, if I put a kitchen table appointment on your calendar, you wouldn't know what to do with it. You gotta stay current. If you get out of that mode, you're gonna lose it. Because like think back though, think back to when you've been in that zone and you're just closing. Like if you're in that mode and you're closing, somebody could put somebody in front of you who's probably gonna say no and you close them because you're just in that zone. But if you get out of that habit, right? You get out of that flow state. Look at the Chiefs last night. I don't know what the hell happened to them, but good God, that was gross, right? That was good. First half, I think they had like 33 yards passing. Like they were out. They were out of the zone. It was it just didn't happen, right? Because they're a good team. Good teams have bad days. They were out of the zone. Yeah. It didn't it didn't work, right? Something was off. And for a lot of us in our business, we're going to hit those like weird periods where like something's going to be off. It just happens, right? And like Wendy, I'm gonna put your business out there a little bit, guys. Like last week, Wendy texted me and she's like, "Coach, I need some coaching," and she got it, right? And like the Cliff Notes version, and Andy has said this to all of us before. If you have licensed leaders beneath you that you think are trainers and are field trainers, a license doesn't make a leader. Just because somebody can recruit somebody and has a license doesn't mean they know how to train them, doesn't mean they know how to help them get into their market quickly, doesn't mean anything. And so I love like if you're licensed and you're recruiting somebody, but you don't know what to do with them afterwards, you need to be very honest with yourself and you need to put that person and you, please, on your next level up's calendar and let them do the orientation. Let them show you what it looks like. Because I promise you guys, if you've been around for more than a minute, but you're not still coachable, there's a problem. That's a big problem. Because just because you got a license and you closed one life app doesn't mean you've arrived, right? Look at all of the greats. Freaking Bill Whittle on stage at ECBS is 70 some odd years old. The dude's a billionaire and he's still talking about I got a coach. So if that dude has a coach, you would all agree that you should stay coachable no matter what. And look, you're already here. So you're already coachable. You're already here. Remove any ego, remove any pride from any of this scenario that you have going on in terms of like, oh, I know what to do. I could do it. Well, scoreboard don't lie. And if you ain't doing it, fix it. Because if you're not doing it and you recruit somebody and you're not going to train them, you're an IBA collector. You're collecting IBAs, you're not moving anybody forward, you're not helping them get licensed, you're not like getting them into their market, you're never going to show people what they are going to have the access and ability to do. Guys, don't collect IBAs. That's gross. You're just walking around taking 124 bucks from people. No, right? And that's where the true difference will come in when you can actually get in front of somebody and change that. I promise you guys. Like I sat with an agent a couple weeks ago. We sat down with her parents. Her dad was paying 190 bucks a month effectively for 30,000 in a whole life policy. But the mom had like 7 grand in coverage too. So I mean I mean they were both covered. And listen to me. She had told me prior to setting the appointment, she goes, "Hey, my mom and dad, they said that, you know, they said they'll do it, but they've already got coverage. They don't need anything." I said, "Perfect. That's amazing. If they've already got coverage, they'd see the value in what you're going to be doing. Am I right? They already understand life insurance. It's already important. Just get them on the calendar. It's okay." Because it's more important that they understand what you're going to be doing than closing anything. But let's be honest, and here's the tie down. But I mean, let's be honest. If we sit down and show them that what they've got isn't great, I could probably fix it and make it better. And if we gave them a lot more, no matter what, like they would probably see value in that. Am I right? Guys, unbelievable. We sat down and literally for the same dollar figure, 100, well, actually, you know what? We ended up at $194. But dad's got a quarter million, mom's got a quarter million, and all of the grandkids are covered now for 25,000 each. He was already paying the money. Do you think he gave a flying rip about an extra $6 or whatever when we quite literally 10x plus the coverage on all of them? For mom, it's not even funny, right? Like what? 50x almost for coverage, 40x for coverage, and covered all of the grandbabies. That's the power of what we do, guys, because you don't know what people have. And so if your people are saying, "Hey, I'm all set, I'm all this," no, they're not. No, I promise you they're not. And you know what the great thing about this business is? If you put them in front of me and we look at their stuff and they are all set, I'll tell them. I'll tell them. I sat down with another agent whose dad had a whole life policy that he's had since he was like 20, and he's only paying 90 bucks a month for it, but he's got a quarter million in coverage. And now he's in his mid 50s and he smokes. Do you think I could actually do him any better? No. I said, "Sir, like I'm not a huge fan of a whole life policy. It's not really like what I would advise clients towards, but based on your situation right now, that's the best thing smoking because even if I was going to put you into a term policy for the same coverage, I got to charge you like 200 bucks. It doesn't make any sense. Keep doing what you're doing, but let's open you another investment account." Because, and now, here was the gross thing. He doesn't have the policy, right? It's at his mom's house, whatever. I said, "But given the fact that you've been paying on the thing for like 32 some odd years, if I had to put a number on it, I'd say there's maybe 40 grand in cash in it." Because if you're only paying 90 a month, in reality, that policy should be costing you somewhere around 200 to 250. You're basically just paying for the insurance. And that's all that's been going on for 30 plus years. And he goes, "Really?" I said, "Yep." I said, "Do me a favor, get the policy. Let's get back together. Let's look at it." I'm still waiting to see what happens there, right? But guys, like that's the power of what we do. You, if your new recruits are saying, "Oh, well, I talked to a bunch of people and they're all set," that's a dead giveaway that they are not following the script. How do I know? Because if somebody says they're all set, that means, "Hey, I need you to sit down and look at life insurance." Yeah, trust me. You call me and ask me to sit down and look at life insurance, especially you haven't talked to me in weeks, months, years, ain't happening. It ain't happening. Because here's what you should be doing, and here's how you should be coaching your people. "Hey, I just need to get some training in, right? I work, need like 20, 30 minutes on Zoom call. Super simple. When can you help me out? It's on Zoom. It means it won't take long. If you can use any of what we do, great. If not, great. It's okay. I just need the training. That's it. That's it. But I promise you, if you are having, like, if, look, even if you tell people exactly what to do, guys, they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen. What does Andy teach us all the time? You don't get what you expect. You get what you what? Put it in the Zoom chat. Who knows? You don't get what you expect. You get what you what? Inspect. You get what you inspect. And so if you're not constantly helping these people and you're in their ear, you should be the loudest voice in their head constantly. If you're the one training them and you expect them to move, you have to be the loudest voice in their head when it comes to helping. Now, if you call somebody constantly like, why haven't you set any kitchen table appointments? Do you think they're ever going to do it? Mm-mm. No. Be the owl. Whoo, whoo. Hey, Wendy, who can we get in front of tomorrow? Who can we get in front of today? Right? We made this wedding list. Make the wedding list, guys. If you're not making the wedding list, you're setting yourself up for failure. If you're just saying, "Oh yeah, they're gonna get me a list of people," they're never gonna do it. Because here's the other thing they're gonna do. They're not gonna make the list of people with you. So now you might be getting people put on your calendar and it's not qualified. You're talking to toothless Timmy who has no kids and no wife and is disabled, right? And I love Tim. Tim's probably a great guy. But Tim doesn't need life insurance, and now he just blocked out a KT slot on your calendar because you didn't make the list and you didn't qualify the appointment. Married, kids, or both. That's it, right? Now, obviously, age plays a factor. But guys, if you're sitting on qualified kitchen table appointments with both spouses present, mind you, because if you're running one-legged appointments and you're not closing, you're burning a market. You're literally burning it down. You're going to run through that thing, and you're also setting a terrible example for your new agent. Assuming that you're letting them run those appointments, now you're just showing them what not to do constantly, right? If you think, I mean, and just think about your own personal situation. For most of you right now, if someone said, "Hey, I want you to go spend a couple $100s a month on this new thing," are you going to do it without your spouse present? Be honest, put it in the Zoom chat. Some of you would, right? Angela Weber, yeah, you're a different cut, right? Like you're a military spouse, you're used to running stuff like that all the time, right? Yes, and some of you will. And that's the problem because some of you will go on those appointments and you will close it and you'll be like, yeah, I can do it. Put it in front of me. That's not the point, right? That's not the point. Stevie Costner, a single parent is your easiest close that you will ever lock down. I love me some single parents, and this isn't some weird like I support single moms thing, right? Like, but this is like a single parent is the easiest close ever, ever. They don't need to check with Bob or Susan about the appointment. They don't need to check with Bob or Susan about if it's okay or not. If it makes sense and they see enough value and they realize that God forbid something happens to them, their little ones are not going to be taken care of appropriately. They're probably going to go, dang, I should probably give up one Starbucks run a week and spend the $60 a month to make sure that I got $250,000 in coverage and all my kids are covered. Guys, some of us I think are worried so much about like doing it perfectly that you just don't freaking do it. And let's be honest, like did that sting a little? Right? Guys, if you're in your mid 20s and you have a kid, right? You're a single parent and you have a kid. Female, 250,000 with the kids on, plus and wait, like I'll even give you the waiver of premium. That's like $61 a month, maybe 62 when with the pennies all like landed, right? You go to Starbucks one time and you get a drink and a sandwich of some sort, you're walking away spending $15. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, Kendall, I mean, let's be honest. Like, if you could just give up one of your Starbucks hits every week to make sure that you and your kids were protected for like the next 35 years, I mean, that would make a lot of sense. Am I right? and then shut your freaking mouth. Shut up. Wait for answer. It exists in all of the scripts for a reason because if you spend so much time just flapping that you don't give them a chance to respond, well, you didn't really tie anybody down. Rick just said it perfectly. You're selling past the close. Why do you think? I mean, obviously, beyond the fact that I like talk constantly and my mouth gets dry, why do you think you should have a prop? Why? Right? Because if you ask that question and then take a drink, well, it's not like you're just sitting there staring at them going, it doesn't make it weird. I mean, Kendall, let's be honest. Like, if you could just give up like one Starbucks run a week to make sure that you and the kids were protected properly, even if it was just something small right now, I mean, that would make a lot of sense. Am I right? In those 4 seconds, she's going to answer me. Because if I'm drinking, she knows I'm not talking anymore. It's a natural cue. Yeah. Guys, I don't care what you use. I don't care if you use a friggin' empty Yeti cup and you're not even actually drinking. I don't care. But force yourself to slow down. Slow down. So, and again, this goes back to the fact that some of you guys are not sitting on enough appointments. And so when you do get that one kitchen table appointment, you're like a little mouse on crack. And you're like, wow, and you're so excited and you want to show so much value that you never actually close. Guys, like let's back up to some stuff that Ian used to teach, right? And I wasn't around for Ian, but I've listened to pretty much anything Ian's ever said on YouTube or in a SoundCloud. Because when I came into the business, Andy said, bro, if you master two things, you'll make 100 grand a year online from home. And I said, okay. He said, you got to master appointment setting and you need to master this recruiting. Everything else will fall in place. I said, okay. So I started listening to Ian Pruckner on SoundCloud because that's what Andy sent me. And then I was like, man, I could do this. This is not hard. I get it, right? I get it. And so all I ever wanted to be was Ian Pruckner plus Andy in one, like in one agent. That's it. Because Andy's really fun and Ian is super technical. And it like that person that like melding those two people together is me. And then I wanted the other person that came out of that too. I said I want to be these two people together and then add in Howard Lashner. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. That's what I wanted to be because the life insurance side of it is great, but if you're not running a security side of the business, one, you're cheating your clients, but two, you're leaving half of your income on the table. You're leaving half. Guys, Primerica paid 1 point some odd billion dollars last year in comp. 529 went to life comp million, right? Life compensation. The other 540, and Rick, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Was this the first time that securities comp actually exceeded life comp? I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, this is the first time in company history where securities comp has exceeded life compensation.
thank you. Now, here's the other fun part, guys. How many, like, what's the percentage of representatives in Primerica that received over half of the comp that was paid last year? Like, what's the percentage? Anybody know? I did it. I wasn't even trying to do it. Oh my God, that was so good. That was so good. Yes, Nicole, 20%. 20%. Y'all are leaving half your paycheck on the table. Half. Half. And that's why Andy has asked me to make a 401 for Sunday Night Skills, and we are going to start hammering securities. Hammering securities. Okay. Because you have to run the numbers. And running the numbers means running a balanced business because if you run life and securities, your QBI will go up, your clients are happier, you're a full service agent. You have to. You have to. Please, please, please. You have to. Have to. So listen, I'm gonna jump over and we're gonna talk about some ratios and some red line tracker stuff really quick because I gotta get going on something else. So let me pull some stuff around, let me move some stuff around really quick. So guys, you need to start like if you haven't already, you truly, truly need to start like hammering attendance at meetings with your people. You have to because that's the only thing that's ever really going to change your business. And I'll show you what I've been like doing with people on orientations lately to just like hammer this home. Personally, right now, guys, think about how much different you feel about your business and just like kicking off the week after spending 30 minutes with me. Think about it. How many of you right now feel more positive about going and running and setting some appointments and just like getting back in the field? Go do something, right? It better be every stinking one of you. So here's look, most of us use iPhones. Some of you heathens out there don't, but that's okay because the analogy still works. In about 2 days, this is effectively an expensive paperweight. You would agree, right? Okay. Well, so this without this is fairly worthless, right? Assuming that this is plugged into power, right? Don't go there with me, Rick. I know you want to. But assuming that this is plugged into power, right? This without this is worthless, right? Good, 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 good. This is you. This is my meeting. If you don't come, your business in about 72 hours is effectively on life support. Show up, plug in. I don't care if you're busy. Put in a freaking AirPod and listen because you will hear something, you will see something that will change your life forever. It'll change your business forever. You don't know which meeting it's going to be. Yes, there are three of them in a week for us because I run one of ours on Thursdays, but that's okay. They're all going to be different. You have no idea. Just plug in freaking podcast. I don't care, right? I stole that from Abby Schaffner. She said it a long time ago. She's like, yeah, just plug in. It's like a podcast. Just listen. Abby, that was one of the greatest things you ever said when it came to meeting attendance. This past Thursday, we had 55 people on our meeting. What? That's never happened. What changed? Me. I changed. I changed because I said, look, if you don't do this, you're dead. Dead. If you don't plug in 48 to 72 hours, you're gone. Gone. And you didn't pay money to get a license to just quit, did you? Good. Then I'll see you Tuesday. I'll see you Sunday. Whatever, right? But guys, like you have to start hammering meeting attendance because if your people don't plug in, they are going to die. Their business will no longer exist, which means if their business no longer exists, how much longer do we have for your business? Probably not, right? Probably not a whole lot. So hammer, hammer, hammer meeting attendance, please, please. Okay. So look, here's a tracker. This one, and this kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, right? When it comes to looking at the numbers, if all we're ever looking at is, oh, I'm going to be 10 by 10, coach, I'm going to be 10 by 10, but we never look at like what's getting us there along the way, we're missing it, right? Rick, I love the fact that in this new tracker, I love that you put minimum premium in here as like that constant check-in because sometimes just seeing the percentages over here is not enough, right? And so guys, we got some big scary hairy goals out here and that's perfect. That's what they're supposed to be, right? Now let's kind of understand how this all works. And so everything downstream of recruiting is ratio driven off of the number of recruits that your RVP has set for the month, right? If that's the goal, then everything else running off of that is where it comes from. Okay. So I'm going to assume these numbers are up to date, right? So we said 150 is our recruit goal. for the month. 150. So right now we're at, and I'm just going to use mine, right? We're at 14. That means we're at 9.3% of the way. That means we're way, way, way under. Now, and everybody is, right? If we were all going to be on track, we should all be at 22% to the goal. Okay. There's 21 days left in February production. Month end is March 3rd. All right. So what do we need? Well, about 6.5 recruits a day, 7 recruits a day, right? To get there. Do you think it's easier to get on track the longer we wait, or it's going to be harder? I mean, that's a ridiculous question, right? Obviously, it's going to be harder, guys. The longer you wait to get these numbers up, the farther away that gap is from closing. So you have to run the numbers. You have to run the numbers, right? And so there we go. Sorry, I was bringing the chat back to life. So these are the RVP base shop numbers. Now here's sort of the secret sauce. Come down here, and if you're one of the top producers and you've been given a slot on here, which you had to have earned your way on, right? And Rick, I can't remember what we said, but it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 by 20, right? You need to at least be running some like senior regional level numbers to get on here. And so if your team leg goal is not close to getting there, do you think the regional vice president's goals are ever going to move? No, no. You got to go run those numbers, guys. And so, and this is where it comes back to, okay, Melina and Justin Scott, right? Mandy and Corey Carlos. If you guys are 0 by 0, Jody, Jamie, if your numbers are 0 by 0, go move the needle today. Go move the needle today. But I can't tell you to go move the needle today if we don't look at your activity. Do you have any appointments? No. Okay, if you have no appointments on your schedule today, guys, what should you be doing? You should be freaking locking yourself in a room, and you should just be grinding on social media, like Andy loves to say, for probably 4 to 6 hours. I don't mean like doom scrolling. No, I mean you need to be messaging people. You need to be asking for shares. You need to be asking for them to create and make a new post for you, right? That's where you'll get a ton of extra like new organic activity, not just sharing your actual post. I mean, that helps, right? Don't get me wrong. I love a good share goal. 20 shares is where you want to be, right? But so Jody, you do have one? Girl, I got you. Come on now. Look at this. Look, I even tried to give you 11. Boom. There you go. That's okay. Guys, if you can't get that sheet to update, you got to tell us. Or just tell your RVP and have them put the numbers in. But you should be able to change this column. Everything else is locked, right? Rick's a genius. He won't let us break it. It's good, right? So that's recruits. And then if you look at recruits, right, the ratios off of that, we say, look, if you've got 150 recruits, right, 60% of them are going to stick around. And from that 60% that sticks around, you should write about 2K in premium, like plus or minus, right? So if we had 160 recruits times 60%, that means 90 people stuck around. If they all do about 2,000 in sales, that's why, right? Because I want you guys to understand this. That's why this premium number says 180,000. Okay. And if you don't believe me, here, I'll show you because everybody's numbers are the same. Everybody's ratios are the same, right? Rick, this isn't just like making up craziness. Look, if you got 150 people and only about 60% are going to stick. Now you've got 90 that will do something. Of that 90, everyone should be doing about 2K in premium that stuck around. Why? Because they're going to get a bonus, right? That's why our number right here says 180,000. And if you don't understand the math and you don't understand why this exists, I want you to understand because we're not just making crap up. Okay. But that's the math. That's the math, guys, right? And that's where it's at. So look, none of us are on track here either. None of us are on track here either. Look, to be on track, 22%. Way below. Way below. That's okay, right? Hey, listen, I would rather aim ridiculously high and not hit it than to say, oh, we just need to do 15 by 15, guys. Because if I said 15 by 15, look where our premium's at. We're almost there. And if we hit the goal, do you think people are going to speed up or slow down? They're going to stop. Guys, there is so much like evidence out there that says that when a sales rep hits their goal for the month, they stop. They stop because and whether that's you hit your quota, whether that's you hit your cash that you needed for the month, they stop. I don't understand it, right? If you hit your sales quota and it's like the second week of the month and you take the next 2 weeks off, well, why didn't you just raise the bar? Why didn't you just go get more? Because in this business, guys, when you go get more, that means you're helping more people. You're like some of you are like missing that whole connection. If you sit in front of more people, you will help more people. Whether that's you helping your agents get a bonus and get their license, whether that's you helping their people get better life insurance and understand investing and maybe get out of something that's just god awful for them. Like my buddy who was spending almost $190 a month on 30K in life insurance and felt good about it until I showed him what a hot trash piece of sick garbage it was. Think about it, right? Guys, you're never going to get what you want unless you go help someone else get what they want. It's never going to happen. It's never, and I don't care if you apply that to your job. If you don't show up to your job and do your work at your job, your boss is not going to get the thing that he wants, which is like that next client, that next sale, that next whatever. It doesn't just apply to Primerica. It applies to everything. Okay. So like let's go down here really quick. Month to date premium. If we're sitting at zeros in this column right now and you need it fixed, tell me. I'll do it right now live, right? And if you're sitting here right now and you got zeros in this column, I can promise you it's not you. It's not that you're broken. It's not that you're a bad agent. It's that you haven't had activity. That's the problem. That's the whole problem. I promise you. If I sat you, like any one of you right now, if I sat you in front of 10 people today that were in market and had their spouses with them at the appointment, and they were open to it because they were helping somebody else, I can promise you, you would at least close four, probably six out of those 10. As long as you're running the play and you're asking questions and you're using a questions-based sales methodology and you're tying people down and showing value. Oh, by the way, the last piece of that we generally don't talk about enough, I don't think, is you have to ask for the freaking close. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to apply and see how it comes back. Sound good? I promise you, I have not sat on many of your guys' appointments, but if you, I would put at least $100 on it that most of you don't do it. If you're not closing, most of you are not doing that because you get to that point and you go, well, I mean, guys, that's about it. I mean, what do you think? And you like meek mouth your way into talking yourself out of the close. Wendy's shaking her head because I like Wendy, because that's what happens is you start getting so like consumed in your lack of self-confidence that you won't do it. You won't do it. You stop believing in yourself. And convinced people convince people. And if you lose that conviction and you lose that, you aren't convincing anybody. So quit. Quit. Just quit. All right, last thing we're gonna talk about is licensing really quick, and then I'm gonna take some questions. So remember, lagging indicator, right? Guys, listen, do I really expect Andy to put up 50 licenses from recruits and people that he brought on this month? No. Guys, you got to remember lagging indicator, especially on licensing. You like licensing, especially, is at least a 30-day lag, sometimes 60. So numbers that are going to populate in here are going to come from people that were recruited either early January, late December, right? So that's where like Josie Grantham, you got it, girl. I got you. Boom, in there, right? But that's where like you can't look at these numbers and go, oh, how am I going to get 18 licenses this month, Nandy? Oh my God, it's not going to happen. Well, no, you knucklehead. It's not just this month. It could be this month, but it's not from people that you just recruited this month. But that requires you to be an engaged leader. That requires you to have follow up with your people. That requires you to be checking in on them. Hey, Wendy, girl, I noticed you hadn't been in your licensing curriculum in the last week. Is everything good? You guys still just here's the trick. Are you guys still just getting over all that flu and sickness? How do I know that? Because I've been talking to her. Relationships, guys. Yes, can they be built over text message and Zoom? 100%. How do you think most of the freaking world communicates these days? Generally, people don't want to talk anymore. Generally, but they'll talk to their hot and warm market people. That's why calling to set an appointment is so effective, right? Because you're on the phone with that person. You can convey emotion. You can convey sort of like gravity, right? Like it's serious. Hey, I need some help. I got to get some training in. I'm up against a deadline. Guys, if you tell someone that you're up against a deadline, do they know whether it's real or not? They have no clue. It's your deadline. They have no idea what your freaking deadlines are, right? Hey, I really need some help. I got to get some training in before the end of the week, right? We have a mid-month milestone that we got to hit, and it would really help me out. And if you can use it, great. And if not, listen, it still helped me out, right? Yes, Lena, it's still a freaking deadline. If you set it for yourself and you gave yourself a deadline, it's a deadline. I don't ever want you to be dishonest with somebody. It's a deadline. If you said it, it's a deadline. Period. Right? So listen, we're gonna cut this one so we can have a clean break so we can start the QBI meeting and stuff with the RVPs like solidly at 9. Rick, is there anything else that you want to hit on the tracker? And I'm gonna stop the
I
recording.
Yeah, I think you actually did a great job, Noah.